All right, so get this. We're diving deep into men's fashion today. You know, those style choices that sometimes, well, miss the mark.
And with the holidays coming up, I bet everyone wants to look their best, right?
You got it. We found this awesome style guide, and it spills the tea on what women wish men knew about their fashion choices. It's like a cheat sheet for dodging fashion disasters.
But hey, style is personal, right? It's not about hard rules, more like common perceptions.
Totally. Okay, so first up, this style guide calls out cargo shorts. Apparently their time is up.
It's a style shift, you know? Cargo shorts used to be all about practicality, but now it's leaning toward a more streamlined look.
Gotcha, so less is more. Ditch those extra pockets.
Seems like it. And speaking of streamlined, let's talk baseball caps. The guide calls it hat fishing. Like, some guys look totally different with and without a hat.
Ouch. Maybe save the baseball cap for casual days then.
Right, it's all about context. Speaking of context, let's get into skinny jeans. Fit is subjective, but overly tight jeans can be a bit much for some.
It's all about finding that just right fit. But
Mhm.
honestly, can we talk about something that just doesn't make sense? White socks with dress shoes. It just clashes.
Totally agree. It's like a disconnect. You've got these nice shoes, and then bam, white socks.
Fashion no-no. So guys, remember, dress shoes mean matching your socks to your pants. And while we're on socks, this guide goes there. Socks with sandals.
Oh, yeah, the great debate. It's a cultural thing, you know. Self-expression is key, but so is understanding social norms. And right now, sandals are a no-sock zone.
Right. Like wearing a swimsuit to a meeting. Not the right message. And speaking of potentially wrong messages, let's talk saggy jeans.
It's tricky because they have this history, often tied to rebellion. But nowadays, it might come across as sloppy more than edgy.
Right. Fashion is always changing. What's cool one day might be outdated the next.
Exactly. Got to be aware of the message your clothes are sending.
Speaking of trends that have had their day, the guide points out chunky, outdated sneakers, like those classic New Balance ones.
It's like clinging to your childhood, sentimental value, but not always reflecting who you are now. It's about knowing when a trend's run its course.
Makes sense. And get ready for this one, flip-flops with jeans.
It's like they don't belong together. Flip-flops scream beach, while jeans can be dressed up or down.
Total style clash. And while we're on confusing messages, what about those look at me shirts? The ones with crazy patterns and tons of bling.
It's psychology, you know. Some people like bold statements, but with clothes, a subtle approach often says more. A nice, fitted shirt can project a confidence that a flashy one can't.
Less is more, right?
Exactly. And that takes us to swimwear. There's a fine line between showing too much and looking stuck in the past.
We're talking Speedos versus those super long board shorts. So what's the right move?
This guide says swim trunks hitting just above the knee strike that balance, modern and stylish.
Above the knee it is. Speaking of fit, let's talk about untucked dress shirts that are too long.
Length is everything. A longer shirt can be stylish, but too long, and it can make you look shorter.
A little tailoring goes a long way. Okay, back to shoes. Time to ditch those square-toe dress shoes, guys.
That's a prime example of styles getting stuck in the past. Square toes were big once, but now it's all about sleek, almond-shaped toes.
Way more stylish. And lastly, those super comfy but oh so slouchy sweatpants.
The I Give Up uniform. Athleisure is huge, but there's a difference between comfortable and, well, letting it all go.
So swap those baggy sweatpants for some of the more stylish athleisure options out there.
Exactly. Comfort and style aren't enemies. And you know what? This ties into the biggest takeaway: confidence.
Because even the best outfit can't make up for a lack of it.
Totally. Confidence is the best accessory you can have. It changes everything.
It's like you only get one shot at a first impression, right? And clothes can say a lot before you even open your mouth.
Absolutely. And that connects to a bigger idea in this guide, knowing your audience. Your clothes send a message, but how it's seen depends on who's looking, you know?
So it's like tailoring what you say to who you're talking to. You wouldn't wear, like, a tuxedo to a barbecue, would you? Unless you're going for a statement, I guess.
Exactly. Read the room, right? Balance what you like with where you are.
Which makes me think we've got this guide saying what not to wear, but isn't fashion about being yourself. How do those two work together?
Tough question, right? Every generation goes through it. Fashion's a spectrum, you know? On one side, it's just being practical, like clothes got to keep you warm. On the other side, it's art, pushing boundaries.
And most of us are somewhere in the middle, yeah. Wanting to look good, but not, like, stick out in a bad way.
Exactly. Comfortable, presentable, but showing your personality too. That's where understanding style matters. Finding what works for you, but knowing what your clothes might be saying to others.
Like, your clothes are your brand. You can be classic but with an edge, or effortlessly cool. So many options.
I like that. And remember, fashion's always changing. What's in today might be out tomorrow. That's what makes it exciting.
Totally. Always evolving. Speaking of, we talked about athleisure. It's huge. Right now, guys love being comfy. What do you think about that trend?
Shows how our lives are changing. More relaxed. Work, hanging out, even fancy events. The lines are blurry. Athleisure fits that.
Like the new business casual, right?
Yeah.
Blaze with joggers, totally normal now.
Exactly. And it's not just comfort anymore. Athleisure's gotten stylish, designers making high-end stuff that looks good, and feels good.
Best of both worlds. I can get behind that.
For sure. And we can't forget social media. It's changed men's fashion a lot.
Oh yeah, Instagram, TikTok, it's like a fashion show every day.
And not just watching. Online groups about men's style have blown up. Guys sharing tips, asking for advice, connecting, overlooking sharp.
It's like having a style guru on call. Right. But with all that out there, it can be a lot. What would you say to someone who wants to dress better but doesn't know where to begin?
I always say, start by looking inward. Ask yourself, like, what vibe do I want to give off? What makes me feel good, confident? Then, once you kind of know what you're going for, you can look at stuff that fits that.
So finding your own style instead of just copying others.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to try new things either. New colors, patterns, ways of wearing things, that's part of the fun.
Just like anything else, right? The more you try, the more you figure out what works.
100%. Fashion's about figuring yourself out as much as it is trends. Finding that sweet spot where you meet what's current.
This has been eye-opening for sure. From those fashion no-nos to the bigger picture of how culture and even psychology play into men's style.
It's wild, right? Clothes tell a story about the times we're living in, what we value, what we want, even what worries us.
Like a snapshot of society, but through what we wear. But before we wrap up this deep dive, one last thought for everyone listening. If your clothes could talk, what would they say about you?
Wow, what a question. Really makes you think about how much our clothes communicate without us even saying a word.
Right. And on that note, we'll wrap things up on this look at men's fashion. Remember, confidence is key, and knowing yourself goes a long way. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our future deep dives. See you next time.